Hi, my name is Kasper Johansen and I'm your YouTube philosopher. I'm up here on summer vacation at a cottage way up north in Sweden, and I've been taking these long walks, these long philosophical walks actually, to philosophize a bit here in lovely Sweden and the nature. And a lot of philosophers, they use this method of philosophizing, walk and philosophy. Søren Kierkegaard in Copenhagen, he did this, walking around in Copenhagen. Immanuel Kant, he did that in old Prussia, walking around to clear his head. He actually walked at the same time each day, so the people in the village, they put their clock, they set their clocks to his walks because he was so precise in his walks, Immanuel Kant. But philosophers, German philosophers like Nietzsche and Heidegger, they went up to the woods. Nietzsche, he went to Switzerland, and Heidegger, he was up in, I think it's Schwarzwald. But anyways, on my philosophical walks here in lovely Sweden, way up north, near Stockholm, I was thinking about something that can you philosophize without asking questions? That was something I was philosophically immersed in. That can you do philosophy without asking any form of questions? And my first thought was actually, no, you cannot philosophize without asking a question, because that's the basis of all philosophy, that you ask question and you try to answer it. And the more answers you get, the more questions you get. This is a very basic philosophy, to ask questions and more questions comes up. But I was still thinking about, isn't it really not possible to philosophize, to get a philosophical thought out of nowhere without asking a question first? And I was thinking about, of course, people do that all the time. They get associations. They see something, maybe in nature, maybe in the city or something. You get this association from something all of a sudden, and then you get a philosophical answers, right? But the problem is, I thought, with this association, you might get some sort of philosophical answer, like you walk around in nature and all of a sudden you say, hey, this would be an idyllic society maybe. But then questions pops up, because how do you make that ideal society? The one you just philosophically associated, kind of a sudden, what's it called, an epiphany, an åbenbaring, like the German says, we in Denmark call it åbenbaring, where you get an epiphany of some sort, philosophical epiphany, that this is the way one should construct the ideal society. But we don't have any ideal society. I don't live in the ideal society. You probably don't as well. So how do we get there? So now the question pops in, how do you make an ideal society? So that means you cannot philosophize without asking questions, right? But then I tried an experiment to walk around the roots and says, let's see if I can just get an association, a philosophical association, without starting to ask questions afterwards, if that was possible. And I walked around, and I didn't walk that much until I got some association. I got some philosophical answers about this ideal society. But yes, then I started asking questions, how should one get to this ideal society? So then I started asking questions, and now I was doing philosophy. So then I thought, okay, this is done. You cannot philosophize without asking questions. That's what I got too. But then I was walking around looking at birds with my binoculars, and I wasn't actually philosophizing that much at that moment. And I walked around, and all of a sudden I did get a lot of answers, and just answers, no questions. I just got a lot of philosophical answers about my own life, how I should morally, or how I should conduct myself in some sort of normative way. And then I immediately thought, hey, this is just philosophy without asking questions. There was a lot of things popping in. But then, of course, afterwards, when I got through all these answers that suddenly popped up to me, I started asking questions of how that happened. So I could philosophize a bit about that by asking questions. But how did I suddenly get to a position, a state of mind to just be able to get these epiphany, these Offenbarung, these associate philosophical answers? Where did they come from? But I already practice a philosophical method of walking and philosophizing, to clear the head. And I was just started to think in this analytic way that is philosophy, but all of a sudden I took a break. But I was in the right state of mind all of a sudden. And then the answers just came to me. But I think that took some space and some calmness that is walking in nature that maybe helped it a lot. Maybe it's a form of meditation that gets you to these philosophical associated thoughts, answers. Buddhist monks, they sit and meditate, and they get a lot of enlightening thoughts or enlightened perspective on life. That's what the Buddhist monks have done for millennia, actually. So this is what I have been philosophically thinking about in the way up north in Sweden. Maybe I have other thoughts coming to me before I get home. Maybe I make a video about that as well. I don't know. Let's see. But for now, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.